Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. On Tuesday of this week, the United States Senate's Armed Services Committee held a confirmation hearing for Department of Defense's Inspector General nominee, Robert Storch. Apparently, Storch has been living under a rock with regard to UFOs/UAP because he didn't know when the questions were brought up to him by Kirsten Gillibrand with regard to the new UAP office that Congress established last year. He didn't know really what to say. Anyhow, here's an article that was appeared in the 16th in Liberation Times. On February 15, 2022, the United States Senate's Armed Services Committee held its confirmation hearing for the Department of Defense's Inspector General nominee, Robert Storch, and it marked a perhaps unprecedented and historic moment in unidentified aerial phenomena history. When questioning Storch, who was currently IG for the NSA, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand sought assurances that the nominee would prioritize the IG's current evaluation into the Department of Defense's actions regarding UAP. Let's watch the video.
Are you familiar with the DoD's IG's ongoing assessment of the response from DoD components to the intrusions of unidentified aerial phenomenon into controlled DoD airspace, as well as UAP activity around naval and air operations? Further, do you think the NSA has been responsive to the DoD's IG inquiries?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I'm afraid that's not an issue with which I am currently familiar. However, if confirmed, I certainly am willing to look into that and to take any action that's appropriate.
Well, thank you. And if confirmed, can I have your commitment to sustain this comprehensive assessment until it reaches its appropriate conclusion, including the possibility of follow-on actions such as audits or investigations if the assessment recommends as much?
Well, again, I honestly am not familiar with that particular review, but as is typical, I think, across the IG community, when a new IG comes in, if they're pending matters, those would continue in the office, and it would be perfectly appropriate to examine them. And if I am confirmed, I can assure you that anything that's pending in the office, I'll give my best attention to. And if there's appropriate follow-up to be done, we'll do it.
Okay, so since you aren't familiar, can you please familiarize yourself with this issue and respond to both of those questions in writing before your confirmation, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, at least, he's going to, she's actually, Gillibrand, you got to give her credit here. She's going to, make this guy familiarize himself with this situation. How could he not know this? How could he not? I mean, everyone and their grandmother knows about this. I mean, this is something that's been talked about for the last few years now, and last year was was like a watershed moment when we had the Congress pass this bill that included this legislation to create this new office. So it's something. How could you be someone that's going to be the next Inspector General for the Department of Defense and not be familiar with UAP? How is that possible? But I guess it is possible. Apparently, this guy's been living under a rock. Either that or he's lying. I don't know why he would lie, though. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, what's he embarrassed by this topic? I mean, why would you're not supposed to lie at hearings. So I can't see that. So obviously, the guy's been living under a rock and doesn't really care about this topic. But at least Gillibrand is going to make him familiarize himself with this topic. Anyway, with regard to this article, it says here, the questions and comments from Gillibrand were greeted positively by the UAP community. Luis Elizondo, the former ATIP director, told the Liberation Times that it's inspiring to see how courageous our elected representatives are in doggedly pursuing answers on UAP. Senator Gillibrand is right to question nominees for the DoD IG position about the ongoing evaluations of the UAP subject. Senator Gillibrand, as part of her roles on both the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees, has received classified briefings on UAP. She has the appropriate clearances to be informed. She and her colleagues on these committees are committed to righting a long-standing wrong and bringing the truth to their constituents. We must be able to trust that leadership at the Inspector General's office shares the same values. And then it goes on here. The article continues. It says, indeed, Gillibrand's questioning and instructions to Storch suggest the senator and her colleagues are privy to information that has made the historically stigmatized topic of UAP an urgent priority. Gillibrand made an example of Storch and set the tone for future engagement with stakeholders who know little about UAP or deliberately frustrate efforts. Representatives and senators, including Gillibrand, have staked political capital on the UAP topic. Additionally, Senator Gillibrand and fellow UAP advocate Senator Rubio may harbor ambitions of becoming president someday. Therefore, any roadblocks which slow down progress and undermine Congress's authority will likely be greeted with the escalation of rhetoric and action, which could involve public hearings and appropriation committees that control the DoD's purse strings. I'll leave the link for this article, but it's a very interesting article, and it's nice to see, some of our elected officials, keeping on top of this. After that legislation was passed last year and signed by Biden, you think that maybe this would, it would go away for a little bit and people wouldn't talk about it. But, we're still talking about it. There's still people in Congress that care about this and realize it's a very important topic, and it's something that we need to get to the bottom of. I know that there's already, whether Gillibrand or Marco Rubio or anybody else in Congress knows this or not, there is some people in the Pentagon that know exactly what's going on or have a really good idea what it's all about, and they're just not sharing that information. They're treating the public like a bunch of kids. But it is nice to see that. And, again, is this guy living under a rock? Storch, were you living under a rock? Were you not reading the news? How could you be the next Inspector General for the Department of Defense and not know anything about UAP? I find that just strange. Very, very strange.